Ed Schultz Show on Seattle's Progressive Talk, AM 1090. From the heart of America, the nation's #1 progressive voice, where truth and common sense rule. This is the Ed Schultz Show, where America comes to talk. And now, Ed Schultz.
No matter how you cut it, we don't screen them, we don't content screen. You just have to get after it. And if you're a bad call, you're out of here. Bring it to the table. We got so many important things going on in this country, and we can have a little bit of fun doing it, you know what I mean? 1-877-934-6833. Love it when you sign up for a podcast, $60 a year. All the audio that you need to have, and certainly don't send your kid back to school after Thanksgiving break without the proper counseling of the Ed Schultz Show at WeGotEd.com. All right, what's out there? The president has been delivered his first veto override, first time in 7 years. So the water bill's going through. Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to spend $23 billion. This means that these projects are now going to be up for consideration when it comes to appropriation. The House is now readying a bill that is going to go through that will offer up $50 billion instead of $196 billion that the president requested for the war. And they want to fund it quarterly with some benchmarks and some troop withdrawals and conditions and all that kind of stuff. And you know what the president's going to do with that. Robert Wexler from Florida, who is on the House Judiciary Committee, is urging the Judiciary Committee to schedule impeachment hearings immediately. Now, that's pretty definitive conversation, isn't it? Impeachment hearings immediately and not let the issue languish as it has for over the last 6 months. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, we've had a few phone calls from her district and some internet traffic that folks aren't real happy with her stance on this, and I have to say myself, having been a big fan and advocate, I'm disappointed. Congresswoman, good to have you with us, and thanks for being on the program.
Thank you so much.
I read your statement. Impeachment is a lengthy process which would divide Congress and the nation even more deeply than we are divided right now. How much more divided can we get, I guess is my question to start out with, and what difference does it make if we're divided?
Ed, a year ago yesterday, the people in America voted to put the Democrats in the majority in Congress so that we could move the country in a new direction. And they asked us to focus on withdrawing our troops from Iraq, on expanding health care access, on making sure that we can refocus our efforts in terms of alternative energy and putting resources into that. They did not ask us to spend any time on the impeachment of the vice president. And knowing the mainstream media like we do, and remembering back to the dark days when the Republican Congress pursued impeachment against President Clinton, that is all that the media will focus on. That is all the attention that would be focused on in Congress, and we would not be able to spend the next 13 months focusing on the issues that are important to the American people. And then to what end? At the end of the day, we impeach the vice president. Let's say that we go through the judiciary process, and I sit on the Judiciary Committee as well. We go through the process, and we impeach the vice president. And then what? We still have President Bush in office. I mean, so we replace the vice president, and we go through a confirmation process in the House of Representatives of confirming the new vice president, and we will squander the opportunity to move this country in a new direction when what we should be focusing on is those issues that I just listed and many others, and focusing our efforts on expanding a Democratic majority and electing a Democratic president.
That's what it's all about. November of 2008, and I struggle with that.
If we were, and I have to tell you that I would feel somewhat differently, but only somewhat differently, if there were 2.5 years left in the Bush administration. But I think that we need to tough out the next 12 months and focus hard on the results-oriented Democratic Congress that we know we are, and make sure that we deliver that new direction for the American people so they reward us by electing more of our Democratic candidates to the 14 open Republican congressional seats because they are giving up and bailing out, and to beating more of their Republican incumbents and then electing a Democratic president so that we can really get the job done. If we don't focus on those things, Ed, then what will happen is we will spiral downward into and play right into the Republican hands. Why do you think they voted to table against tabling that Kucinich's resolution the other day? Because they know that if impeachment happens, it will distract from the Republicans' failures and distract from our ability to get the job done and move the country in a new direction. They were loving. They made that happen. They are the Republicans are the ones that made that defeated that motion to table, because they understand that all that we should be focusing on is impeachment, so that we can't show the American people that we can get the job done.
Congresswoman, I've got to reel myself in professionally here. I'm not going to get in a debate with you because this is an interview. But what I'm hearing from you is that you think that timing is more important than the Constitution of the United States? And I need you to be very clear on this.
No, I don't.
Because you said it's all about timing, that if it were 2.5 years left, that it would be a different situation.
I might think differently if there were 2.5 years left. But no, what I said was not the timing of everything. What I said is that we have a tremendous number of issues that the American people want us to focus on.
Congresswoman,
we would not be able to focus on if all we did was impeachment.
You're not going to fix America in 12 months. You're not going to fix America, but you can stop this country from going to war with Iran with that nut who's in the vice president's chair.
By impeaching the vice president?
Absolutely.
Wow.
The people, you said that the American people didn't put the Democrats in power to go impeach.
That's right, they didn't.
There's polls out there that say that they're in favor of this procedure. Now, I don't know where I think I got a pretty good...
With all due respect, the polls out there don't put impeachment anywhere, not even in the top 10, on the issues that the American people think that this Congress should be focusing on. Not even in the top 10. They want us focusing on expanding access to health care. They want us to get the troops out of Iraq. They want us to focus on alternative energy. They want us to focus on education.
We know all
it
that.
Doesn't even come up.
Yeah, no, it does come up. And I don't know where you're doing your polling, but I can tell you right now that there is an undercurrent in America that the Judiciary Committee in the House should take this up. And it shouldn't be tabled. This should not be used as an exercise on how to kill this measure.
And what do you think? What do you think the front pages of newspapers in America would be talking about?
Congresswoman, I don't care about the front pages of America. I care about the Constitution, and I don't really. I care about the Constitution. I care about the rule of law. I care about justice. I want to know exactly what people knew about pre-war intelligence. We are in a position right now with the House Judiciary Committee to find out.
If you care about the Constitution, Ed, then we need to focus Congress on what we've been doing, which is the oversight role that was abdicated by the Republicans for 12 years, allowing us to go forward in the Judiciary Committee with the hearings we've been having on FISA, with the hearings that I attended today in the Constitutional Subcommittee on torture, and making sure that we treat the detainees and apply America's Constitution to their treatment. We would not be able to have any of those hearings in the Judiciary Committee if we had to shift gears and focus on impeachment. How about Blackwater? How about voter rights?
I disagree with that. I don't agree with that. They've been spying on us since before 9/11. FISA, nothing's going to change there. You're not.
Ed, are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
I really completely disagree with you.
Okay, well,
we are without a Democratic Congress. This administration would have been able to completely
I'm
eliminate...
well aware of that. And the reason why there is a Democratic Congress is because the Democrats out there in the heartland were told that, well, you're going to do something about the war. Nobody will go to the funding. But that's not your issue. But you're on the Judiciary Committee. And I just want to know why, finally, this is not an issue to move forward. John Conyers, who was out there with the Downing Street hearings, who was out there beating the tar, and you yourself going after the Bush administration, going after Dick Cheney.
Which I still do every single day.
Well, then why don't you get him out of office? Because you're so concerned about what you can focus on?
Next November, we are going to have an opportunity to get them out of office. They will leave office, and we will elect a Democratic president.
I'll tell you.
I am going, let me tell you, Ed, when I go home to my district, and I have a liberal Democratic district, yes, there are people that want us to impeach the vice president, but even that is a political calculation. It's not. It's the president.
It could be the best way to stop us from going to war with Iran.
But the reason that the people who support impeachment want us to go after the vice president is because they know they'd end up with Cheney as president if we pursue impeachment.